Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rachak Wadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And today we're going to go into the book of 2 Samuel, the 14th chapter, leaving off or continuing from where we left off in the 13th chapter with the forceful taking of Tamar, the sister of Absalom, by her brother Amnon, and for which Amnon or Absalom plots his revenge 2 years later in having Amnon basically murdered, and then Absalom flees. So here we are, 2 Samuel 14:1. Now Joab the son of Zeruiah perceived that the king's heart was toward Absalom, so he could see that David missed his son, but yet he wouldn't call him back. And Joab sent to Tekoa and fetched thence a wise woman, and said unto her, I pray thee. And when he says a wise woman, it's a woman that was like she was good at, you could say, like pretending. She could play a role. So he basically calls her and says, look, I want you to act like you're a mourner, and this is what I want you to say. And said unto her, I pray thee, feign thyself to be a mourner, and put on now mourning apparel, and anoint not thyself with oil, but be as a woman that had a long time mourning for the dead. So basically, pretend like you're a mourner that has been mourning for her dead for a while. And come to the king and speak on this manner unto him. So Joab put the words in her mouth. So he basically gave her a script. This is what I want you to say to him. And when the woman of Tekoa spake to the king, she fell on her face to the ground, and did obeisance, and said, Help, O king. So she bowed to him. And the king said unto her, What aileth thee? And she answered, I am indeed a widow woman, and mine husband is dead. And thy handmaid had 2 sons, and they two strove together in the field, and there was none to part them, but the one smote the other and slew him. So they got into an altercation. There was nobody there to be the peacemaker and separate them, and one killed the other one. And behold, the whole family is risen against me, or against thine handmaid, and said, Deliver him that smote his brother, that we may kill him, for the life of his brother whom he slew. And we will destroy the heir also, and so they shall quench my coal which is left. So she's saying they want to kill the other brother, which is my only son that's left, the heir, after his father. And if they do that, because he slew his brother, but if they do that, I'm going to have nothing left. As she says, they shall quench my coal which is left, and shall not leave to my husband neither name nor remainder upon the earth. And the king said unto the woman, Go to thine house, and I will give charge concerning thee. So you can go home, and I'll give an order, and nobody's going to hurt your son. And the woman of Tekoa said unto the king, My lord, O king, the iniquity be on me, and on my father's house, and the king and his throne be guiltless. Meaning, thank you, and any criticism or any negativity or anything that comes of this I'll take the fault in my house, but you'll be guiltless from it. And the king said, Whosoever said aught unto thee, bring him to me, and he shall not touch thee any more. So anybody that has a problem with it, that is being an adversary to you concerning this matter, you bring them to me, and I'll make sure that it stops right then and there. Then she said, I pray thee, let the king remember the Lord Yahweh thy God, that thou wouldest not suffer the revengers of blood to destroy any more. So basically, almost like make an oath or swear unto me that you won't let the revengers of blood in the law are really those that avenge, right? If somebody's blood is shed, their near kin can avenge their blood, lest the one who shed the blood runs to a sanctuary city or a refuge city, and then he's basically safe there for a period of time until the elders judge the matter, and then they find out if he's actually innocent or he'll be put to death. But the revengers of blood were those that would take revenge or avenge the loved one that died. She's saying here, basically swear that you're going to make sure that none of them are able to destroy or kill my other son, lest they destroy my son. And he said, as the Lord Yahweh liveth, there shall not one hair of thy son fall to the earth. Then the woman said, Oh, let thine handmaid, I pray thee, speak one word unto my lord the king. So let me just say one more thing. And he said, Say on. And the woman said, Wherefore then hast thou aught such a thing against the people of God? For the king doth speak this as one which is faulty, in that the king doth not fetch home again his banished. And I'm going to read this in the NKJV, where it says, So the woman said, Why then have you schemed such a thing against the people of God? For the king speaks this thing as one who is guilty, in that the king does not bring his banished one home again. So you would swear to me to have my son, who slew my other son, protected, right, against those that would want to slay him. But here it is, your son, who's kind of in the same position, you basically would not bring him back. And basically this was, Joab had reworded or created a scenario similar to that of Amnon and Absalom and David, and just flipped the script a bit to put it in a different perspective or in a different light by it coming from the woman's mouth, to see that, hey, you know that you want to go ahead and bring Absalom back. And by the way you ruled or the way you judged in favor of this woman who's in a similar position, even though that's a made up story, that confirms that indeed you are in this same stead, right? And yet you're guilty of basically doing the opposite of what you're saying you would do for me. And that's what she's saying to him. For we must needs die, and are as water spilt on the ground, which cannot be gathered up again. So, at some point we're all going to die, right? Like water that spills on the ground, and you're not a waterbender, right? You can't absorb the water out the ground again. Neither doth God respect any person, yet doth he devise means that his banished be not expelled from him. See? So yes, we die. Yes, we're not really brought back again in that sense, like how water is spilt. Once a life is gone, it's kind of gone. But the Most High, even though he's not a respecter of persons, it's not his pleasure to banish those or to expel those that are banished from him, but to reconcile them. Now therefore that I am come to speak to you of this thing unto my lord the king, it is because the people have made me afraid. And thine handmaid said, I will now speak unto the king. It may be that the king will perform the request of his handmaid. So because they made me afraid, I came to request this of you. For the king will hear and deliver his handmaid out of the hand of the man that would destroy me and my son together out of the inheritance of God. Basically to put us to death for this matter out of the land. Then thine handmaid said, The word of my lord the king shall now be comfortable, for as an angel of God, so is my lord the king to discern good and bad. So she's basically saying, I'm going to go to the king and ask him, and I know he'll speak or judge in a matter that is right. So what it means by comfortable, because he's like the angel of God, right? And when somebody says that, it's kind of like saying like you're almost perfect, right? Like you're like an angel, that can discern between good and bad. Therefore the Lord Yahweh thy God be with thee. Then the king answered and said unto the woman, because now David perceived that, this is sounding a little bit more than just a situation that you're going through. So he asked her, hide not from me, I pray thee, the thing that I shall ask thee. So tell me the truth. And the woman said, Let my lord the king now speak. And the king said, Is not the hand of Joab with thee in all this? Isn't Joab behind this? I bet Joab put you up to this, didn't he? And the woman answered and said, As thy soul liveth, my lord the king, none can turn to the right hand or to the left from aught that my lord the king had spoken. Meaning, who can deny what you have just asked here? For thy servant Joab, meaning I can't lie to you. For thy servant Joab he bade me and put all these words in the mouth of thine handmaid. So yes, Joab did set me up and told me to say all these things. To fetch about this form of speech hath thy servant Joab done this thing. So he wanted you to basically confess this because he could sense that you wanted to see Absalom, but you wouldn't make the call to go and bring him back. So he basically wanted to have this situation happen to where it's almost like you confess this, that truly indeed you do want this to be the case. And then he can influence you to just, pardon Absalom and let him come back. Salakia if I keep saying Amnon. And my Lord is wise according to the wisdom of an angel of God to know all things that are in the earth. And the king said unto Joab, basically, let me read this in another translation as well, just for clarity. NLT, he did it to place the matter before you in a different light. But you are as wise as an angel of God, and you understand everything that happens among us. And the king said unto Joab, behold now, I have done this thing. Go therefore, bring the young man Absalom again. And Joab fell to the ground on his face, and bowed himself, and thanked the king. And Joab said, today thy servant knoweth that I have found grace in thy sight, my lord, O king, in that the king hath fulfilled the request of his servant. Now, it wasn't that Joab loved Absalom so much that he wanted this, but rather for David's sake is why he did this, because he could see that it was eating at him, it was bothering him. So Joab arose and went to Geshur and brought Absalom to Jerusalem. And the king said, let him turn to his own house, and let him not see my face. So don't bring him here, I don't want to see him. Let him go to his own house. So Absalom returned to his own house and saw not the king's face. But in all Israel there was none to be so much praised as Absalom for his beauty. From the sole of his foot even to the crown of his head, there was no blemish in him. So he had no scars, no scrapes, no none of that. And when he polled his head, for it was at every year's end that he polled it, so whenever he cut his hair, which he did once a year, because the hair was heavy on him, therefore he polled it. So he had so much hair that he had to cut it at the end of every year because it was so much. And when he weighed the hair of his head at 200 shekels after the king's weight. So long story short, he had a lot of hair. And unto Absalom there were born 3 sons and 1 daughter, whose name was Tamar. She was a woman of a fair countenance. So he named his daughter after his sister. So Absalom dwelt 2 full years in Jerusalem and saw not the king's face. Then Absalom sent for Joab to have sent him to the king, but he would not come to him. So he called for Joab so he could send Joab to the king to inquire. But Joab didn't come. And when he sent again the second time, he would not come. Therefore he said unto his servants, see, Joab's field is near mine, and he hath barley there. Go and set it on fire. And Absalom's servants set the field on fire. So he went and set Joab's field on fire. That'll get his attention. Then Joab arose and came to Absalom unto his house, and said unto him, wherefore have thy servant set my field on fire? So why do you set my field on fire? And Absalom answered Joab, behold, I sent unto thee, saying, come hither, that I may send thee to the king, to say, wherefore am I come from Geshur? So why did you bring me here if you weren't going to see me? It had been good for me to have been there still. Now, therefore, let me see the king's face. So send him a message, tell him I want to see him, and I want to find out why did he bring me here? Because if he's not going to talk to me, then he might as well just let me stay over there. And if there be any iniquity in me, let him kill me. So I'll come before him and he can judge me himself. So Joab came to the king and told him. And when he had called for Absalom, he came to the king and bowed himself on his face to the ground before the king. And the king kissed Absalom. And that brings us to the end of 2 Samuel, the 14th chapter. Lord willing, this was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham, Recha Kodash. Until next time, Shalom.